So this is the women's 1500 metres. 16 women, a very, very packed field for a 1500 metres race. So this is Maite Kohlberg, Germany. Finished third, Kohlberg, in the 800 metres 2 years ago. Zanoni, very good Italian. A few years ago took silver in the 3000 metres. We saw there the Greek, Hungarian replacement Varga, Raven Walcott Nolan, very experienced competitor, won the 3000 in 2021. There's Guillemot, possibly one of the favourites in this event. She's run under 4 minutes this year, 3:58.44 recently for the Frenchman in Paris, at the Paris Diamond League. And a big shout for Marquez, drafted in really in place of Marta Garcia around the 5,000 metres. So we're switching across the competitors very quickly. We'll give plenty of them attention as we go along. Worth mentioning as well, though, Salome Afonso. She was 8th in the 800 metres, but she's the other sub-4 minute runner in this race. Also in there, Gabriela Galvadaite, the Lithuanian, was 4th in the 800 metres. Just see the bright yellow strip of the Lithuanians from the rear, and it is Galvadaite who's up for the front, but it's the Pole who cuts across very quickly. Kazmierska, Claudia Kazmierska, has a personal best of under 4 minutes, but as a 4:03 runner this year, Guillemot tidily getting out of trouble up on the shoulder. Fairly reasonable pace for the opening 150 metres. We were expecting it to be sedentary. It's a bit quicker than that. It's not flying though. Kazmierska in front, Guillemot, Kohlberg, Walcott Nolan, as you can see the indicator on the lower left-hand side of your screen. Well, now it seems to have dropped down. They've got themselves all where they want to be. Right at the back, the Greek runner.
Well, Phil, this is championship racing, about 54 seconds at 300 there. It is desperately slow, but you expect that. And athletes learn to race in events like this. So often on the commercial circuit, the Diamond League circuit, and there's nothing wrong with it necessarily in that context. Pacemakers make the races super fast, and so I say that, so I think that's the Swede who's come around the outside, Vera Sjöberg, who's a 4:07 performer. Yes, it is her who hits the front and sides. Enough is enough after that desperately slow opening lap. So athletes, of course, will be jostling for position. You need to stay off the curb and ready to react to a big surge from anybody there towards the front end. 72.4, that opening 400.
So Sjöberg still making the pace there, but those are the expected main protagonists behind her. Guillemot, Zanoni, Kazmierska. Kazmierska, former European under-18 medalist over 800 metres, moving up in distance. And, well, Sjöberg still doing a pretty good job of just increasing the pace, and now they've really strung out the field. 2 laps to go. They went through 700 metres unofficially in a 2:03. But still Sjöberg doing a nice job at the front.
Well, this will be a much quicker second lap. Remember, 72, it'd have to be 2:25 more or less to make it there. It is 2:18, a 65.83 there for that 2:18 clocking. Sjöberg has put some respectability into this, and Walcott Nolan running a smart race there for Britain, just staying off the curb in 3rd place at the moment behind the French athlete.
And you can see there Afonso, also one of the 2 sub-4 minute performers this year, moving up on the outside. Afonso, one of the more diminutive runners in this field, doesn't want to be blocked, doesn't want to be boxed. Sjöberg still, though, at the front. Well, the pace has dropped just a little bit over the course of that last 200 metres. Now they're just preparing themselves and gearing them up to come into the bell.
Costa on the outside there in the orange for the Netherlands, moving through, and so is the Portuguese athlete, looking strong at the moment, and threatening now is Afonso as they hit the bell in what, about 3:07. It's still slow. It didn't really pick up as much as expected that last 200.
Now Guillemot's edged away into the front now. She's tucked in on the inside curb. Afonso's come a long way around the outside. I'm just wondering what she's got left in her legs after that 800 metres in these conditions yesterday. Sjöberg starting to drift back. Costa who we know over the longer distances. She got a European indoor medal a decade ago over 3,000 metres. Costa, you wouldn't have expected to be one of the quick women. Now Walcott-Nolan also, but Guillemot now really starting to work really hard as they come into the last bend. Afonso on her shoulder. Afonso trying to find a change of gears, but it's still Guillemot doing well on the inside. Walcott-Nolan's moved up to third. It's the Frenchwoman and the Portuguese battling though. Afonso's moving out wide. Can either Guillemot or Kazmierska Can Walcott-Nolan come through on the inside, but it's Guillemot pulling away, and she crosses the line in 4:08.72. Well, after that really slow 72-second first lap, it gradually got quicker and quicker, and a pretty decent time at the end. Just about 3 seconds outside the championship record, and in these conditions, that's good racing, particularly over the last lap from the Frenchwoman, Agatha Guillemot.
Yes, great win for the French athlete there for 8:72. They ran the last 3 laps at an average of about 64 seconds per lap. It went 65, 64, 61, and then that last lap was quicker still. So Guillemot taking it there very impressively from Afonso. She ran the most aggressive race. Walcott-Nolan, I think, had a little bit more running in her legs. She was closing down the home straight, but ran out of track to the Briton. But good third place points from her. Kazmierska in 4:09 in fourth place, the only other athlete under 4:10. Typical championship racing there, the French coming out on top. Well, here it is from the off, exactly as you'd expect, Phil. A slowish start. The athlete who took the race by the horns, Vera Schoberg, eventually getting in 10th place down the go down the results order. Of course, in really slow races like that, once you're outside the top 5 or 6, unless you've outperformed yourself against the clock, it's hard to come away with a great deal of credit, but all credit there to Guillemot. Agatha Guillemot, 3:56 performer. She was always going to be the main danger, I think, and she did look very, very strong there. A little glance over her shoulder there, but she's 2 meters to the good. You can see Walcott-Nolan to the left, closing all the time on Afonso. Couldn't quite get there.
Afonso, well, she looked very tired down the home straight, just had enough to stay in second place. I think the 800 metres that she ran yesterday took the edge off, but she was still the best bet for the Portuguese over 2 laps of the track. The door was open very wide for Walcott-Nolan, but there was no change of gear, unfortunately. Yeah, Afonso hanging on, getting 15 points for the Portuguese. But a big smile as Agatha Guillemot goes over the line. And Kazmierska, who showed in the early stage of the race, once again, couldn't quite change gear and take advantage of that big yawning gap between the Frenchwoman and the Portuguese runner.